So we are going to present our issue paper with the topic of mental health and our title as the impact of global pandemic on the mental health issues of college students. Introduction. Experiencing a pandemic and being quarantined have been proven to be debilitating effects on mental health. Mental health is an important factor for our overall well-being. However, the pandemic is affecting it badly. One of the most vulnerable to mental health issues are the college students that are learning during the lockdown. They have to adjust to the new normal of transitioning from face to face to online and modular learning. This growing problem, especially during this ongoing pandemic, is a concern for researchers.
Why do we need to study this? The researchers want to study the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic had on the mental health of college students. Moreover, they want to assess how different countries are dealing with the issue. This study will raise the public and government awareness of the problem and encourage them to take an action.
Background of the study. Mental illness is a worldwide issue. It's believed to afflict 1 out of every 4 persons at some point in their lives. Especially in the time of global pandemic, every country is involved and everyone is affected, and they are more prone to mental health problems. There are countries that are experiencing this issue, such as Bangladesh, the United States of America, China, and the Philippines. The governments of these countries had imposed countrywide lockdowns due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This has resulted in college students to develop stress, anxiety, and depression. Some of these existing studies mentioned in this research have been carried out to examine the existence of potential mental health issues caused by the pandemic.
The first is Bangladesh. Bangladesh suggested that the government and universities collaborate to provide university students with psychological treatments, scholarships, and student loans.
So the second is the United States of America. So this country has combated this issue by having relatives, family members, and friends assist the mentally ill students. They also had service from their counseling offices.
While in China, they advise all relevant government offices and universities to monitor the mental health of students who have not returned to school and to provide psychiatric assistance.
In the Philippines, they engage in relaxation activities, including meditation, sports, exercise, and music to relieve stress and obtain support.
Also, in the Philippines, they speak with family and friends, use social media, and most importantly, pray, worship, and read the Bible.
General conclusion, this study has shown that mental health issues during this pandemic are still ongoing. As we all know, COVID-19 is a massive disaster for the entire world, and the mental damage of it has brought to college students is a concern that we would like to study. Some existing studies mentioned in this research.
Individual conclusion. The COVID-19 pandemic has a negative impact on higher education due to the long-term pandemic scenario and restrictive measures such as lockdown and stay-at-home orders. Our findings emphasize the urgent need to create treatments and preventive methods to address college students' mental health. Colleges may be able to minimize the mental health effects of COVID-19 by investing in initiatives to alleviate distance learning problems and social isolation during the epidemic. Even after accounting for numerous possible confounding factors, college students were at a greater risk of mental health problems during the lockdown. During lockdown times in this vulnerable population, intensive follow-up and monitoring of students' mental health state is required.
As a result, this pandemic has a significant influence on the students' mental health, particularly in colleges, due to long-term lockdown, online classes, and other oppressive procedures that must be followed. This epidemic has significant impact on the students' mental health. According to our research, the number of college students suffering from depression and anxiety increases fast during the COVID-19 outbreak. Our research also points to the urgent need for interventions and prevention strategies to address the mental health of college students.
This epidemic does have an effect on both our physical and emotional health. A college student is one of the individual who was affected by such a mental health problem. There was been an increase in tension and anxiety as a result of the COVID-19 epidemic. A variety of factors have been attributed for the increased level of stress, worry, and gloomy thinking among students, online class, lockdown, as well as other things may lead to this.
The COVID-19 pandemic makes a negative impact on the mental health of college students. In this time, college students' lives have changed as they adjust to new living circumstances and adapt to online learning platforms. Effort to support the mental health and well-being of students are needed. In addition, challenges including concerns about their health, the health of family members, and worry about their finances, particularly among those who support themselves by working students. It has been a rising concern with many students experiencing psychological stress, a substantial issue to social interactions.
The impact of global pandemic on mental health issue is dramatically changing the lives of the college student. There is no doubt that living in these circumstances can be tough for students for their social and mental well-being, especially on college students. The purpose of this study was to address the status of mental health issue of college students in this time of pandemic.
The COVID-19 pandemic has made a massive impact on the mental health of college students around the world. This study has shown that the mental health issues during this pandemic are still ongoing and in some cases rising. If the pandemic is not going to end anytime soon, we might see a huge spike on the number of mental illness among the students. This issue needs immediate actions like prevention and intervention methods to combat it. Based on the findings in this study, China's ways on dealing with the problem was effective. The governments of other countries should try to consider the work of China on how they would deal with this problem as well.
The COVID-19 pandemic is having a significant negative impact on the mental health of students. The strategic activities are necessary to strengthen the mental health and well-being of students. The mental health problem among college students is inevitable, especially during this pandemic. Many of its cases are due to the problems faced by students, and sometimes it leads to death of those who suffer from mental illness. In our research entitled Impact of the Global Pandemic on Mental Health Issue of College Students, I believe that this is one of the issues that we must focus on, especially at this time of the pandemic, when almost young people and college students suffer mental illness frequently. Many students find this to be life. In addition, some students have to cope with difficult tasks at school and home, and some college students may be responsible for various work and family responsibilities.
The COVID-19 pandemic affects our physical health, but it also affects our mental health. One of the affected of this mental health problem is a college student. As a result of COVID-19 pandemic, there has been an upsurge in tension and anxiety. The elevated levels of stress, anxiety, and depressed thoughts among students were attributed to a variety of factors. The factors that may cause this are online classes, lockdowns, loneliness, etc. We should pay closer attention to the psychological dynamics of students experiencing negative emotions and adopt effective psychological interventions methods as soon as possible.
To summarize, mental health issues are common among students, particularly those in college. Furthermore, as a result of the current circumstance, many college students are experiencing health issues such as anxiety, stress, and major depressive disorder. Because we are not in a face-to-face style of learning, college students from other nations are having difficulty catching up with the online class because they are terrified of failing. Also, college students are suffocated of this situation because they cannot communicate face-to-face, which may lead to psychological stress. They cannot communicate properly with the teachers and other students if there are some clarifications since online communication is limited, or in short, online communication is not that effective. Teachers and school administrators, on the other hand, are still doing everything they can to persuade or encourage college students to continue their studies no matter how difficult the situation we are experiencing right now.
Once again, our topic all about is the impact of global pandemic on mental health issues of college students. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.